Palpatine's plan for gaining control of the galaxy is easily one of Star Wars' greatest conspiracies, spanning decades and requiring countless pieces to fall into place. The key was turning Anakin to the dark side. To do that required him to kill his current student, Count Dooku. However, that outcome was uncertain, and that one decision could have changed everything. Welcome to Darth Theorist, where we explore the depths of the Force, analyze characters, and speculate on what could have been. Whether you're a Jedi Knight, a Sith Lord, or a curious traveler, prepare to ignite your imagination as we begin this journey.
Do it.
The words echoed across Anakin's mind as he stared at his defeated foe, Count Dooku, the leader of the CIS, one of the greatest duelists in the galaxy, and perhaps the Jedi's greatest traitor, knelt at his feet, defeated and disarmed. His and the Count's lightsabers were leveled across his throat. One swing was all he needed. And yet, Anakin hesitated. Though it would have felt good to do and had been just, the Jedi Code was clear on such things. Never kill an unarmed man.
Anakin, you must hurry. Kill the Count. He would gladly do the same to your master if given the opportunity. We must depart before the ship burns up.
Anakin's hand wavers in a quick motion. He extinguishes the blades and punches Dooku, knocking him out. At the same time, Obi-Wan wakes up and secures the Count, while Anakin focuses on landing the invisible hand. With some difficulty, Anakin manages to land the ship on the surface, allowing the Jedi to reach them. They swiftly arrest Dooku, while Anakin escorts Palpatine out.
Thank you, my young friend.
The words are kind, but underneath he seethes with fury. Anakin's failure to execute Dooku has thwarted his carefully laid plans. To turn him would require more effort than he first thought. A few days later, Count Dooku is brought before the Jedi Council. The once mighty Sith Lord looks exhausted and disheveled from days without sleep. He does not look anyone in the eye, but keeps his head low. Masters of the Jedi Council, I stand before you to confess my role in the events that have transpired. I have indeed led the Separatists, but I do so under the influence of a great power.
A great power, you say? Who is this master you serve?
My master is known as Darth Sidious, and he is none other than Chancellor Palpatine himself.
Chancellor Palpatine? This is preposterous. Wait. Dooku mentioned this name to me before, during our encounter on Geonosis.
Your memory is sharp as ever. Palpatine was the one who told me to gather the Separatist leaders and build the droid army to start the Clone Wars.
This is a lie. Palpatine is a great leader and a friend of the Jedi. Dooku seeks only to sow doubt among us.
Why spare me if you will not hear my confession, Skywalker?
Because taking your head is too good of a death for you.
Troubled you are, young Skywalker. But taint your earlier success by giving in to your anger. You must not. Listen to these claims, we must.
Anakin storms off in anger. Although the Council might hear these claims, he won't sit and hear the slander against his friend. Some, like Mace and Obi-Wan, are inclined to believe him. Others are more cautious and agree with Anakin. While they debate, Anakin seeks solace with his wife, Padme Amidala. As he enters their private quarters, although he enters her apartment troubled, Padme is smiling brightly as she holds her hand to her stomach. She reveals the news that she's pregnant. Anakin's eyes widen in astonishment, and he runs to embrace her. For a moment, all the troubles in the galaxy fade away, as his entire world is this small apartment. The couple shares a quiet, intimate night, having dinner and talking about their plans for their children, playfully arguing, especially after Anakin vows to team their kids to pod race. For once, feeling more like husband and wife, instead of Jedi and Senator. But as they drift off to sleep, Anakin is ripped from a dream come true into a nightmare. Visions of Padme in agony haunt his mind as she is giving birth. He wails in agony as she struggles throughout the process. Despite her best efforts, the birthing procedure is too much for her. As she takes her final breath, Anakin desperately reaches out for her, but the dream shifts. Instead, he finds himself with a much younger Count Dooku, standing in a darkened warehouse and speaking with a hooded figure.
I sense your frustration, Count. What troubles you?
Enough of your games. I know you've read the reports.
Indeed. A Jedi Master and a Senator. The culprits were uncovered by you, and yet you were passed over for a seat on the council.
Do not mock me, Sith Lord. Glory is not what I want. What I want is a galaxy where the Jedi are not blinded by this failing republic.
The Jedi are too blinded in their ways to see that. If you wish to free your brothers and sisters, then you must destroy this republic. I can help you, of course, if you are prepared to make that step.
The Count hesitates, looking at the figure's outstretched hand. But before he can answer, the dream shifts and Anakin wakes up. Despite the late hour, Anakin gets up from bed and heads to the prison. He finds Dooku sitting in his cell, calmly meditating before Anakin storms in.
It's not enough to spread your lies, but now you haunt me with these visions, Dooku? What game are you playing?
Dooku lifts the stumps in his arms.
I'm not sure you recall, Skywalker, but my connection to the Force is not as strong as it once was. It's done nothing with your arrogance. Don't toy with me, Dooku. I want answers. Perhaps another is sending you these visions, seeking to cloud your judgment. Or perhaps the Force is attempting to warn you.
Before their confrontation can escalate further, an explosion shatters the silence. The door behind them is shattered, sending debris flying. Through the billowing smoke emerges Cad Bane.
Today is not about you, Jedi. I'm here for Dooku. I'm on a short timetable tonight, so just step aside and I'll let you live.
Not a chance. I didn't let this slime live just for you to kill him.
With a swift motion, Anakin charges down the hallway, his blade flashing as Bane fires his blasters. The narrow confines of the prison cell become a battleground as the two clash in a whirlwind of lightsaber strikes and blaster fire. Bane activates his rocket boots and vaults over Anakin, flipping to kick the Jedi before landing behind him. Whirling around, he whips his blasters towards the cell, but is surprised to see Dooku is no longer there. Just as he looks around, he senses movement behind him as Anakin swings his lightsabers again and narrowly misses him. Bane drops his blasters and instead activates his electric gauntlet, stunning Anakin and dropping to the ground.
Like I said, I'm short on time. I'll have to deal with you later.
Dooku did not get far as he managed to scramble towards an adjacent hallway. Bane casually flicks his wrist and uses his whipcord launcher to bind Dooku's feet. The bounty hunter approaches him and points his blaster at Dooku's forehead.
Sorry about this, boss. Nothing personal.
Before he can pull the trigger, a blur of blue whips past them. Bane screams as his blaster drops to the ground, along with his severed hand. Anakin appears between Bane and Dooku, pointing his lightsaber at the Doro's throat.
I'm gonna ask you this once. Who hired you?
Don't know, Skywalker. I don't ask questions when I get a job.
Then what use are you to me?
Funny. I was gonna say the same thing about you.
The bounty hunter lunges at Anakin, activating his electric gauntlet again. For a moment, Anakin is stunned, but to Bane's surprise, he begins to recover and raise his weapon. Cad Bane has only a moment to watch as the lightsaber flashes and takes his head from his shoulders. Dooku gets to his feet and nods his head.
Always with the hands, Skywalker. I certainly hope this isn't some bad habit of yours.
I'll take that as a thank you.
And I hope you shall take this as proof of my claims.
Anakin contacts the Jedi Council, relaying the details of Cad Bane's attack on Count Dooku. Soon after, the members of the Jedi Council converge on the prison as they plan their next move. If what Count Dooku says is true, then Counselor Palpatine must be dealt with now. We cannot afford to hesitate and allow him to escape. I'll go with you, Master.
Unsafe it is for Dooku to remain here. Take him to the Jedi Temple, I will.
Mace Windu, Anakin, and half the council members leave to confront Palpatine. Meanwhile, Yoda and the remaining members of the council escort Count Dooku to the Jedi Temple to protect him. As the Jedi Council members burst into Chancellor Palpatine's office, Anakin, Mace Windu, Agan Kolar, CC-Teen, and Kit Fisto all ignite their lightsabers. Mace reads the charges and demands that Palpatine stand down to await his trial.
Anakin, my dear boy, surely you do not believe these claims. Dooku is a deceiver, a manipulator. He seeks only to sow discord among us.
I don't know what to believe, but if you truly are innocent, then come peacefully and testify before the Jedi Council and the Senate. Enraged by Anakin's defiance, Palpatine's face crumbles, replaced by a look of fury. With a swift motion, he ignites his crimson lightsabers. Palpatine moves with lightning speed, his movements fluid and deadly as he dispatches Agen Kolar and CC-Teen before either can even raise their weapons. The remaining 3 Jedi launch themselves into the fray, their blades flashing in a desperate bid to stop the Chancellor's rampage. Mace Windu, in particular, is a whirlwind of motion, his attacks relentless as he presses forward. But while his movements are precise and calculated, Anakin's are powerful and vicious, fueled by anger and betrayal. He unleashes a flurry of strikes, his lightsaber a blur of blue energy. Though Palpatine was expecting a fight, he wasn't prepared to face these two and finds himself outmatched. With a single force push, he shoved the 3 Jedi back and leapt out the window towards a passing speeder to make his escape.
Quickly, we must pursue.
He's cut off by a flurry of blaster fire. Suddenly, a squad of Coruscant guards appear and fire upon them. Despite Anakin and Mace's attempt to speak to the clones, they do not respond, forcing the Jedi to kill them as well. The two manage to fight their way out and reach their ship, but as they do, they receive 2 transmissions. The first is from Yoda, who reports that the Jedi Temple is under attack by clones. The second is from Obi-Wan, who is on Utapau. He reports that Grievous's fleet has left the planet and disappeared into hyperspace. Mace and Anakin quickly return to the temple, finding it a battleground between the Jedi and Coruscant Guard. Although outnumbered, under Yoda and the remaining council members' leadership, they are holding their own. The two quickly join the battle and help drive the clones back. Despite their success, they all know that another attack is coming. They find Yoda doubled over in pain. At first, they think he's just injured, but he explains that he feels a great disturbance in the Force, as hundreds of Jedi are being killed, all at once. Dooku's eyes widen in shock as he begins to shake his head. He nearly falls over, only to be steadied by Mace. With a heavy heart, Dooku reveals Palpatine's plan to eradicate the Jedi through the activation of Order 66. But worse still, with Obi-Wan's report of Grievous departing Utapau, they now realize the true scale of the risk. Grievous is likely ordering his forces back to Coruscant to assist Palpatine. The chaos will be unparalleled. He's banking on the sheer scale of the conflict to overwhelm us. With the clones and the droids, there's no way the Jedi can survive. And while they're all fighting, Palpatine can sweep in and take control. Realizing the direness of their situation, Dooku proposes a daring plan to deactivate the droid armies. Without them, the Jedi would not have to fight a war on 2 fronts. More importantly, as the leader of the Separatist Council, He might be able to convince the CIS to stand down.
Not a chance. There's no way I'm letting you slip through my fingers again. If you are concerned with my intentions, you are free to accompany me.
Agree with the Count, I do. Go with him, Skywalker, and ensure the droids are deactivated. Remain here we must, and hold the temple as long as we can.
With a heavy heart, Anakin acquiesces to the plan. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan Kenobi is sent to Kamino in search of a means to deactivate Order 66. As one of the few Jedi who survived Order 66 outside Coruscant, he might be able to slip through unnoticed. As the starship hurtles through space towards the fiery world of Mustafar, Count Dooku and Anakin find themselves engaged in a conversation.
Our first task will be to convince the Separatist Council to deactivate their droid armies and surrender. In exchange, we will negotiate lenient peace terms with the Republic. And then, we will rendezvous with Obi-Wan on Kamino. Together, we will confront the true master behind this conflict. Anakin, Palpatine's manipulation of you. It was a calculated move on his part.
I should have seen through his lies.
We were all pawns in his game, my young friend. He preyed on my disillusionment with the Jedi Order, just as he exploited your fears and desires.
I've been plagued by visions of Padme. I fear for her safety, for our child.
Love has a way of clouding even the greatest Jedi's judgment, Anakin. It is a force more powerful than any weapon. All I seek now is the chance to make amends so that at least my last act will not be serving as a pawn for this madman.
Neither one says anything more as they reach the landing pad. As Anakin and Dooku enter the command center on Mustafar, they are met with a sight that chills them to the core. The members of the Separatist Council lie lifeless on the cold metal floor. Before them stands Chancellor Palpatine, a sinister smile playing on his lips as he twirls his crimson lightsabers.
Ah, Master Jedi. I expected you, but I had hoped for more cooperation. Young Skywalker, you have so much potential. It does not need to go to waste by dying alongside the Jedi. I will still deactivate the droids, so long as you join me. Together we can bring peace and order to the galaxy.
I'll never join you. With a feral snarl, Palpatine leaps onto the table, his lightsabers flashing with deadly intent as he charges towards Anakin. In response, Anakin meets him with equal ferocity, their blades clashing in a whirlwind of sparks. As the ferocious duel between Anakin Skywalker and Chancellor Palpatine rages on, the command center is lit up by the sparks of their lightsabers and swirling force energies. Anakin's youthful agility allows him to leap through the air, launching attacks from all angles. Palpatine, however, is a master of the dark side, his movements calculated and precise as he deflects Anakin's onslaught only to launch a burst of attacks that forces Anakin back. Meanwhile, Count Dooku makes a desperate move toward the communications room to transmit the deactivation code to the Separatist droid armies. But before he can reach his destination, Palpatine lashes out with the Force, hurling Dooku against a nearby wall with a sickening thud. Anakin channels the power of the Force into a devastating push that sends Palpatine hurtling through the shattered windows, his form disappearing into the abyss below. But his triumph is short-lived as Palpatine's malevolent laughter echoes through the air. With a flick of his wrist, Palpatine summons the Force to drag Anakin down with him. They crash onto a precarious platform of mining droids hovering above the churning lava river. Neither side stops to break as their lightsabers clash once again. Anakin strains against the relentless assault of Palpatine's attacks. Suddenly, Palpatine's crimson blades slash through the droid's mechanisms, sending sparks flying as it careens out of control. With a swift backflip, Palpatine gracefully lands on the solid ground of the shore, his cloak billowing behind him as he turns to face Anakin with a triumphant smirk. The lava roars beneath them, forcing Anakin to leap off to avoid getting burned. But before he can reach solid ground, Palpatine is there, a dark specter looming over him with lightsabers poised to strike. Anakin's eyes widen in horror as he braces himself for the inevitable blow, the roar of the lava echoing in his ears. Suddenly, Count Dooku materializes out of the chaos. He tackles Palpatine off balance, sending him hurtling into the churning river of fire below. Palpatine screams in agony as the lava licks his legs, the current dragging him deeper. Dooku stumbles a few inches away, the lava churning at his ankles, just barely avoiding burning him. As Dooku moves to avoid it, Palpatine's hand reaches out and grabs his former apprentice, intent on dragging him down with him. As the current threatens to carry them both to their doom, Anakin swings his lightsaber and severs Palpatine's outstretched arm.
Perhaps it's not such a bad habit, after all.
As they escape Mustafar, reports are coming in from Yoda and Obi-Wan. Thanks to their efforts, the droid army was deactivated in mid-battle, allowing the Defense Force to destroy their fleet and Grievous. At the same time, Obi-Wan managed to learn about Order 65, which countermanded Order 66, allowing the clones to get back to normal. Thanks to Anakin and Dooku, although the Jedi suffered heavily, they would survive. For their service, Anakin was made a master, while Dooku was pardoned for his crimes. The two of them, along with Obi-Wan, were now charged with rebuilding the Outer Rim. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.